This 17 News at Noon podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Well, good day. I'm Elena Russ. The trial of Matthew Queen, the man accused of torturing and murdering Micah Holsenbake, a member of the Bakersfield Three, continued this morning with Matthew Vandecastile on the stand. 17's Maddie Jansen has been covering this case from the beginning, and you're joining us now in studio with the latest.
Yes, Lena, I was there all morning. It is continuing. Going to take a little break and then continue again this afternoon with cross-examination of Vandecastile. He's the man whose garage was allegedly used as the site of the torture and killing of Micah Holsenbake. Today, prosecutor Eric Smith questioned Vandecastile about that night in late March 2018. Vandecastile says Queen asked if he could use his garage to question Holsenbake about a missing gun. Vandecastile said Queen showed up with his girlfriend Bailey Despot and both came into the house. Vandecastile never mentioned seeing Holsenbake. He says they all got high together and Queen stayed in the house for most of the night while Bailey went back outside several times. He said at one point she came in and asked for a knife. Vandecastile says Queen maybe went back outside for 2 minutes. Later, he says Bailey came back inside acting weird and asked Vandecastile's girlfriend Sarah Wiedemeyer for clothes. Vandecastile says Queen and Bailey left. The next day, Vandecastile says he noticed a grease stain on a shelf in his garage. A picture shown in court showed a large dark red stain. Prosecutors say that stain tested positive for blood matching Holsenbake's DNA. Later that year, when Vandecastile was in prison for an assault charge, he's heard on a phone call questioning his girlfriend, Sarah Wiedemeyer, about whether she's living with Queen. He's heard saying, "Tell him when I get out, I'm coming for him. You remember where Micah is because you were there that night. You're going to end up the same if you do him dirty." Later, Vandecastile took a plea deal on his charges in exchange for his testimony. He said several times today that police, quote, badgered him in questioning after he asked for an attorney. Vandecastile also told the courtroom he exaggerated things in interviews with police because he was angry over Wiedemeyer's relationship with Queen. Holsenbake was never seen after the March 2018 incident, but his arm and later skull were found in the Kern River. Bailey Despot went missing shortly after the incident as well. She's also been charged in Holsenbake's murder. We'll have a full recap tonight on 17 News at 5, and you can follow along on Twitter as our court reporter Jason Katowski tweets from the courtroom. In studio, Maddie Jansen, 17 News.
All right, Maddie, thank you so much. Now to our 17 Crime Watch. A man was shot and killed by police early this morning in South Bakersfield. The BPD says officers tried to pull over a man near South High School, but the driver sped off. So officers followed the car until the driver reportedly crashed into a pole at Plans Park. Officers took the driver into custody, but they say another man got out of the car and ran from officers and then started shooting at them.
A second occupant, the passenger of the vehicle, fled from the vehicle on foot. One officer pursued that individual. During that pursuit, there was an officer-involved shooting incident. The officer discharged their firearm, fatally striking an adult male. A firearm was recovered from the adult male.
Now, police say they are still investigating this shooting. They also confirm an officer who shot and killed the suspect was wearing a body camera, and the footage will be released after review by investigators. And 17 News has learned that prosecutors will not bring homicide charges against a man arrested in connection with a deadly stabbing last week. The district attorney's office says the man who was killed, Thomas Taylor Pitt, went to the Travel Lodge on Oak Street. He confronted Andrew Caballos, who was with a woman and child. Day officials say both men fought each other and both had knives. There was a lull in the fight, and that's when Pitt grabbed a metal bar and reportedly stabbed Caballos. Investigators say they reviewed footage of the stabbing, and they say the killing could have been in self-defense. Andrew Caballos has now been released from jail. Governor Gavin Newsom has called Kern County, quote, the murder capital of California. Data from 17 News Homicide Tracker shows there were 136 confirmed homicides last year, and the most homicides happened in a single zip code. That was 36 murders happening in the zip 93307, the area that encompasses stretches from the edges of East Bakersfield out to Edison, goes south excluding Lamont, and tapers off all the way down to Mettler. It's important to note that Kern County has 51 zip codes, but in 2021, every homicide in the county happened in less than half of them. The second deadliest zip code of 93304, which recorded 15 homicides, includes the area east of Highway 99, south of California Avenue, and tapers off to the west until it reaches Panama Lane in South Bakersfield. In total, data shows 105 homicides. About 68% involved guns. That includes all fatal officer-involved shootings and 4 of the 5 murder-suicide cases. Read more on our investigation and check out the interactive maps and charts on our website, kget.com.
Hello, this is Tim Callahan with Clinica Sierra Vista, and we're excited to unveil the Community Health Center of the Future, our comprehensive care center. It's located right across the street from Memorial Hospital. We have every service under one roof, from family medicine, OBGYN care, dental services for adults and children, behavioral health, and much more. So find your way to better care at Clinica Sierra Vista this year at our comprehensive care center. Visit our website, clinicasierravista.org, for the latest on this project. We'll see you soon.
A crash downtown on 23rd and 8th Streets this morning caused major traffic delays. It happened around 7:15 a.m. near the Taco Bell on the corner there, when Bakersfield police say a car made an unsafe lane change in front of a PG&E truck, causing the crash that flipped that car. The public information officer with the Bakersfield Police Department on the scene said all of the occupants got out and there were no injuries, but rush hour traffic was backed up for about 2 hours. And now to news on the coronavirus. The Justice Department has announced it will not appeal a federal district judge's ruling from Monday that ended the nation's federal mask mandate on public transit. That is, unless the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention believes the requirement is still necessary. A Justice Department spokesman said that officials believe the federal mask mandate order was, quote, a valid exercise of the authority of Congress given to the CDC to protect public health. The CDC continues to assess public health conditions, and if the agency determines a mandate is necessary, then the DOJ will file an appeal. Meanwhile, there is a new smartphone app that can reportedly detect whether you've been infected with COVID-19. The Res app uses machine learning to analyze your cough. During tests, it was found to correctly detect COVID-19 with 92% accuracy. Vaccine maker Pfizer has offered to buy Res app for $74 million. Well, this morning the Dodgers announced they'll be hosting a Star Wars night coming up on May the 4th. Many Star Wars fans celebrate the franchise on that date, saying, "May the 4th be with you." Nice little play on words there. The game starts at 7:10 p.m. that Wednesday against the Giants, but you can only take part in the fun by getting a special ticket package on their website. Go to dodgers.com/Star Wars to get your hands on an exclusive Star Wars night knit cap, because it's not a stadium-wide promotion. You have to have the ticket. Well, in your 17 business news, as the existing housing market continues to stabilize in Bakersfield, inflation is now hitting new construction homes. According to the monthly Crabtree report by Bakersfield property appraiser Gary Crabtree, in March, Bakersfield's median home price was at $370,000, and that's for the third month in a row, which is about 19% higher than it was last year. Now, it's interesting to note that the cost of living is 8.5% higher than last year, but it has yet to impact our Bakersfield market as the buying spree continues because of our affordability. The Bakersfield median price is 44% below the state's median price, with the latest data indicating our market has the third lowest affordability in the state. California's median price, well, that increased 11.9% to a whopping $849,089. So with the rising cost of living and the interest rates increasing, affordability is becoming an issue for our state. For example, a family's median family income has to increase $13,888, or 18% per year, to be able to afford a median price home this year versus last year. And that's because of the inflation rate and the increased interest rate. Meanwhile, Democrats and Republicans in Washington are split on how to fix inflation. President Biden wants to ramp up American production. Republicans say there is runaway spending, claiming voters will choose them in November. Biden is requiring any construction materials bought with money from the $1.2 trillion bill to be American-made. The bill's goal is to ramp up production here in the U.S.
We now rank number 13 in the quality of our infrastructure. China's ahead of us. So many other countries have moved. Folks, this matters.
Now, this bill could potentially help ease supply chain pressure. Goldman Sachs says there's a 35% chance of a recession in the next 2 years. And a new report says parents are saying no to career changes because of inadequate childcare. The survey suggests most parents are declining work-related opportunities, especially because of limited infant care options. Analysts surveyed more than 750 guardians with children under the age of 18. They found 56% of parents have postponed work activities, while 64% have experienced difficulties like saving money and maintaining a work-life balance in their day-to-day lives. I'm one of them. And Netflix is losing subscribers. From January to March, the company's customer base fell by 200,000 subscribers. That's the first time it's dropped that since the streaming service became available throughout most of the world. The company says the worst is yet to come, as they expect a loss of another 2 million in the current April to June quarter. This comes as they recently announced a crackdown on users sharing passwords. Netflix says they plan to offer a cheaper ad-supported plan sometime over the next year or two.
The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.